I'm Canadian, and I find it very difficult that there are politicians and individuals who pander to the evil Hamas. But there are some who stand up and say it like it is. And here's one of them. Listen in.
Your deputy leader, Melissa Landsman, referred to a weekend counter-protest at Nathan Phillips Square in Toronto as a protest in support of Hamas, which Canada has listed as a terrorist organization. And she says there is no place for such protests in Canada, and that she would like to see the police enforcement on this. I wonder, do you agree with her, and how would that work? Thank you.
I think all of us were outraged to see celebrations of the evil, sadistic terrorist attacks on Israeli civilians. Common sense conservatives understand that Hamas is a vicious, criminal, terrorist organization, and we must do everything we can to defeat that terrorism and protect Canadians here at home and across the world. And now I should also point out that Hamas has called for a global campaign of terror. I'm encouraged to hear that police across Canada are working to protect the Jewish community against potential terrorist attacks here at home. I am encouraged to hear that there is a strong police presence at Jewish schools, Jewish community centers, and at synagogues. I hope that all police and security forces will be ready and on guard to protect and prevent against terrorist attacks here in Canada. We have to expect the unexpected, and that is why conservatives call for all three levels of government to do everything in their power to prevent a terrorist attack here on Canadian soil. Thank you.
Okay, follow-up question.
Like what you said about the protest, and we are all aware that the France has already imposed a ban on these kind of protests. And do you think Canada should follow the same footsteps? We should do the same.
We, as conservatives, believe in freedom of assembly, freedom of speech, freedom of association. People are free to state their own opinions, even opinions that I find abhorrent. That said, I'm free to state my opinion, which is that Hamas is a sadistic, terrorist death cult, and it must be defeated. And I find it abhorrent that anyone in Canada or anywhere else would show their support for Hamas. I will add, though, it is already a criminal offense to provide material support to a listed terrorist entity. That includes Hamas. So if anybody is found to provide, whether it's a donation or recruitment or coordination or any other material support to Hamas, then the police must enforce the anti-terror laws and arrest them for that criminal code offense. Thank you.
Well, thank you for being unequivocal about the evils of Hamas. However, I would suggest that, freedom of assembly, freedom of speech, and freedom of association is to a point, to the point of where you are protesting and saying from the river to the sea, even though most of them don't even know what that means. But it does mean annihilation of the Jewish people in Israel, and actually beyond that too. No, you're not. You should not be able to assemble to have that notion expressed. Well, what is that different than saying, back to the gas chambers, and there's no distinction. I think this concept of freedom of speech is gone too far when it's inciting that there should be violence. And when you're saying from the river to the sea, that is inciting violence. And that should not be allowed. That such a protest should be stopped. So it's not just about helping Hamas, the group Hamas, but it's the sentiment of Hamas. It is the beliefs of Hamas that if those are expressed, not just in your heart, but expressed on placards and expressed in your slogans, what is that doing? I mean, I'm sorry. I have a problem with that. And I don't see how that would be infringing on freedom of assembly, freedom of speech, or freedom of association. You can do those things as long as you're not saying to bring any harm to any people. What are your thoughts on that?